And there's the camera on the bike. That little round thing in behind the screen, in itself, that probably weighs only about half a kilo. Then there's about another kilo and a bit of transmitter in the petrol tank. And then behind Wayne Gardner, there's a little white bubble. It's been painted to match the colour scheme of the bike, and it's just slightly raised in the middle, and that, in fact, is the aerial. But that's what Wayne Gardner's looking at the moment, crouched behind the screen of this Grand Prix machine as they're waved away. It's a great start by Gardner, but by Michael Dowson particularly.
It's Robbie Phillips, however, who'll slam across them to take the lead for the second round. There's Gardner now, tucked in behind Phillips. Dowson down the inside, McElnay as well. Gardner's back in fourth position. You're riding with him. The V4 Honda pulls out alongside McElnay's bike, but Gardner decides to make discretion on the opening lap and pulls back in behind McElnay. Fantastic stuff, this.
As you can see, it's impossible to pass through those very tight corners.
Beautiful stuff there of McElnay tucking his wheel out of the way of the curbing and doing it again as they come onto the main straight. And Gardner winds the bike up. You can see the tacho reaching for 12,000. But it's Michael Dowson who leads the race. Robbie Phillips has fallen back to about fifth in a frantic opening lap. And so Gardner tails Dowson.
And as you can see, his speed of the V4 Honda just obliterated everybody else. A little wheelie there as he tucks in behind Dowson, and in fact almost pulls alongside before they get to the braking at the end. And you saw Dowson's back wheel twitch there under heavy braking, and he's right up behind the Pitman's Yamaha now.
Look at the tachometer in the right-hand bottom screen there. 7, fiddling about, and coming back down, and then you watch it light up.
And Gardner had to run wide there because the Yamaha was so slow through the middle of the corner, but now he's on the straight. He just squirts the V4 Honda.
Now under brakes comes Gardner, down the inside of Dowson. McElnay lurking in the background. Gardner's through him. Is Dowson on the outside of him? We'll wait to come out of the corner to see.
And the thing is that Michael Dowson, that Gardner doesn't really know, because unlike race cars, there are no rear vision mirrors on racing motorcycles. The rider moves around too much to make them any use, so it's only by looking and by sense that they know whether somebody's coming by or not.
And on lap 2, Wayne Gardner takes over the lead. Rob McElnay now comes up to challenge Michael Dowson.
And this was a very interesting scrap between the two of them in the last race, and it's Campbell in fourth place, and McElnay now right behind Dowson. He said that the 750 Yamaha was faster than the Suzuki, and you can see it pull away. Poor old McElnay was a little bit perturbed. His machine's been slow all year through the Grand Prix season, and he'd hoped that at least when he came to Australia, only Gardner's bike would be faster. He said, well, it's all right to be passed by Spencer at the Grand Prix, but when you get passed by an old 750 Yamaha in a straight line, it's really disheartening. And he tries on the brakes to pass Dowson. Yes, he does it. He just got in front of him, and Dowson almost turned into him, noticed him at the last minute and just gave way.
4 laps down, Gardner is 3.67 seconds ahead of McElnay. Can Rob do anything about it?
Really working it hard. The carbon fibre Suzuki, the old Yamaha TZ750, and then Mal Campbell on the V3 Honda.
There's the race leader.
For the V4 Honda of Wayne Gardner.
There's second place, Rob McElnay, and right behind him comes bike 1, Michael Dowson, with bike 3, Mal Campbell, jammed in his exhaust pipes.
9.4 seconds, Gardner back to McElnay. 1.65 seconds from McElnay to Michael Dowson. And look at Mal Campbell sweeping into that corner fast, trying to come out of it fast enough to match the speed of the 750 Yamaha up the back straight.
And something dropped off Dowson's machine there, I suspect. He could just have run over something already lying on the track, but I don't think so. Something seemed to go bouncing down the road.
It's a horrible thing to say, but with a bike that old, even though they have been doing a grandfather's axe job on it, it's a bit of a lottery waiting around to see what will break on it, isn't it?
Well, the Pitman's men have done a great job, I think, with that machine.
Here's Wayne Gardner, up the back straight. Winds into the S's. You're on board with him again. Gardner just holding the revs at about 7,000 to 8,000 RPM, not using the power to any great degree. Then just up here, this little bike, up to 9.5, and then winds it back out, up the main straight again. There's McElnay in second position.
And McElnay now out on his own, away from Dowson and Campbell. McElnay said that it was actually hard work in the first race. There's a lot of corners on this tight circuit and very little time to rest.
But it's Campbell now trying to make up that gap. There's 16 laps completed on their 17th. Wayne Gardner finishes his 17th. He has 3 remaining. But it's literally half a lap gap between him and the rest of the field. A lead for Wayne Gardner after 17 laps of 13.7 seconds over Rob McElnay, and 3.2 seconds back to third place Dowson as we get on the bike again. A very privileged position because only a few motorcyclists have ever been on a V4 Honda. It's only factory riders and Peter Clifford stabbing his chest. But he didn't ride it quite as hard as this, I suspect.
I certainly didn't. I was lucky enough to have a test on this machine in Japan just before coming to Australia, and I can tell you that nothing will prepare you for riding this bike. I've ridden some very fast motorcycles, but forget all the turbocharged street bikes, the fast 750 Yamahas or whatever any of you may have ridden. This machine just puts the lot absolutely in the shade. And of course, saying that the bike is incredibly quick doesn't detract from Gardner, because he has to actually ride it. Not an easy job. Watching Dowson now, number 1, still holding third place from Campbell.
In fact, well, Wayne Gardner has worked very, very hard indeed to get into this position, to get a bike like that, as we see Peterson and Radford getting closer to Peterson. But Gardner coming round now, completed 19, goes out on his final lap. And with this massive lead, let's have a look at how he does it. You watch the rev counter. And then it starts to go like a rocket, up a cog. Feather there slightly, over 12,000 revs. And look how hard he works it down the back straight. And then how hard he works himself through these S's. Fabulous stuff on this camera, transmitter and aerial that in total weigh just 2 kilos, that the Englishman David Earl has reduced from 20 kilos just a year ago, and which in Jackie Icks's Porsche at Spa filmed, unfortunately, the whole horrifying accident in which
and he wins there.
Stefan Beloff was killed. But Wayne Gardner victorious in 2 out of 2 heats of the 1985 Swan International Series. And that means he is 1/3 of the way as Rob McElnay comes into second place on the carbon fibre Suzuki. Wayne Gardner and Michael Dowson third, Mal Campbell fourth. Wayne Gardner is 1/3 of the way to perfect scores, to taking out a $50,000 contingency for any man who can win all rounds of the series. There's the aerial on the back of the bike, just that white bubble above the number plate G. You see it there against his blue leathers. And you look